Welcome to the Spunky Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Cari Mugz. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And welcome to this episode of Spunky Spirit. I am psychic medium Cari Mugz, and this week we're going to talk about spiritual protection. Now, I hate to admit this, but when I first started this, when I first started my journey, my spiritual journey, I didn't realize how important spiritual protection was. Now, I'd heard John Edwards and some psychic mediums say, always protect yourself before meditation, like surround yourself in white light, or, something small with, John Edwards would say pretend you're spraying an aerosol can, and have that protection be around you. And I didn't take it very seriously, even though when I did meditate, I would do the protection when I would meditate, but not and I would always do protection before each reading, or protect my my business, my place of business. I always thought in my home when I would do my readings in my home. But I didn't ever think that people would intentionally hurt me, or people would intentionally send me bad things. I didn't think that through. I was always under the intention that spiritual protection was from lower frequencies, something on the other side, like lower frequency spirits. I never once thought that you spiritually protect yourself from other people that send you bad energy or negative energy. And I even remember one time about 2 years ago, I was doing a podcast, and I was talking about curses. And I even said that I did not believe in curses because I think that you give them power, because on Practical Magic, the guy says, curses only work if you believe in them. And I don't believe in them. And I kind of always had that attitude. I didn't really believe in them, and I didn't think they had any power over me if I didn't believe in them. But I think I was kind of wrong. The last 2 years has been this ongoing thing of people intentionally, and I'm an intuitive, so I know, at first I kind of thought maybe I was a little crazy, but there are people out there that intentionally send you bad things. Now, that's one thing. The evil eye is one thing. The evil eye is just like when you are jealous of somebody, you scroll and you're looking on people's Facebooks and you kind of are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they would do that. Or you're jealous of them, and that's kind of the evil eye. But when people, and we do that all the time, that's why you have to be careful, because you have to be careful about, what you send out, because you can send those vibes to people, those bad energy vibes. And that's why social media can be kind of dangerous. But when people intentionally send you bad vibes, that's ridiculous. And I remember thinking that wasn't a thing. I was naive, I was stupid, and I, was proved wrong this last couple of years. So I'm not going to explain too much about it. I just want you to know that it does happen. And here's the thing. This is what I've learned too. A really good way to protect yourself against this is don't tell people what you're doing. I used to get on the podcast and tell every detail about my life, and because I thought that that's what people wanted. Or I would get on social media and tell everybody, about my life. And that can hurt you, actually, because there's people out there that don't want you to succeed, and there's people out there that don't want you to do good. So, and they don't want you to be successful. And honestly, they're jealous, and there's jealousy, and they try and keep you down, or they keep on top of you, and they don't want you to progress. So don't tell people your plans. That's what I've decided. I used to think it used to be accountability for me. But now I realize too that if you tell people too much, they can use that against you, and they can intentionally, there are actually people out there, believe it or not, that send you intentionally bad things. And yes, they only have so much power over you if you let them have power over you. But sometimes when you're naive like me and you don't understand, you don't realize what's going on, you allow it in because you don't protect yourself, right? I protected the readings, I protected my business, but I never protected me personally. And I could tell the last couple of years. So especially when you start to grow, or more people start to notice you, or more people, then you've got to do this personal protection. And that's what I want you to realize, is that if you're going into this spirituality, that you need to be protected spiritually, and protection is the number one thing, is the most important thing. Not just if you're doing mediumship readings, not if you're just doing spiritual work, just in general. Because in general, even if you're in a life where people are intentionally trying to harm you or send you bad vibes, they still have, especially in the world of social media, when people are looking at your stuff, their first intention or their first thing, their first thought, you get that energy. Like you receive that energy. That's why social media can be so valuable, but also so dangerous. So this is going to be an episode on how to protect yourself from any type of spiritual, even like the evil eye, just little intentions and also big intentions. So these are going to be different ways. Now, obviously, there's the surround yourself with white light, and you know, surround yourself with white light, surround yourself with any colored light. Pretend, that you have a armor on, a warrior armor on. That stuff will help you, but that's very minimal. That's very minimal. So if you are actually doing spiritual work, or you're going through a spiritual awakening, or you're going more into spiritualness, I would suggest something a little bit more stronger, a little bit that has more oomph to it, or more umph to it. I always, always, always wear this tourmaline bracelet. Crystals will help. And also too, I wear jewelry that symbolizes or has protection on it. So we're going to get into some of the things that you can do, very basic things. So words have power. You can say words all the time. I am protected. I am safe. You can write it down. You can say it during meditation. If you have a bad feeling about something, you can always say, I am protected. I am safe. Now, danger is different than intuition. So if you're in danger, like if you're in an alley and you have a bad feeling, that's one thing. But if you're in danger, then kind of listen to that. So words all the time. I always say words are so important. The words that you speak, they spell things. They're spells. So words, say, love, affirmations, happy, I am protected, I am safe, all of that stuff anytime you feel like maybe something's going on. Now, how to tell, if it's hard to tell too sometimes if somebody does send you bad intentions or quote unquote curse you, because it could be anything. It really could be like medical, check all of the things. But if you feel like it's always on a downward spiral, or constantly intrusive thoughts, constantly mental stuff, constantly things going on, then it's a good indication that you need to start putting some of these things into practice. Okay, I'm not saying somebody has sent you a curse. I'm just saying this could be an issue, and you need to probably it's always safe to always be protected. Visualization. So this is where you surround yourself with white light, or you put your favorite armor on. You visualize an armor, like a warrior armor that you have. I used to do this with my kids and have them pretend that they had certain warrior armor on that would protect them. Sometimes with kids, you can pretend that there's a big balloon above them, and you can pop the balloon and gold goes around them, and that's a protection too. Just little things that you can use. The spray, the aerosol spray that John Edwards talked about. Anything that just surrounds you and protects you. And sometimes I would protect myself too much, that I wouldn't let the love of my clients get in and out. Like I would protect myself so much that even the client, I couldn't feel empathy for my client. So I had to kind of filter that out a little bit during readings. But also too, I like to do this cloak thing. I do a meditation, or I help my clients do a meditation where they go into a castle and they open this big box that's from their guides, and they lift inside of the box is this big, huge cloak, and it could be any color, like Doctor Strange's cloak, on Marvel. And it can be any color you want. It can be decorated any way you want to. And when you put that cloak on, you are protected. And you do like a 10-minute meditation, and you visualize this happening. And then after the meditation, anytime you go out and you feel like you're like in crowds or you're vulnerable, you can always say cloak on, cloak off, cloak on, cloak off, and you're automatically protected. And I do this quite a bit too. But mostly I like to help my clients do that. I do way, way bigger wards and things like that I'm not going to go into detail here, because obviously the people that want to send you those things, they tune into this stuff and figure out a way around it. So just being real, just being honest, guys. And also do cleansings. You can cleanse your home. This is sage, Palo Santos. There's a medium that says limes do it, but these have to have intention, right? You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to sage the house or I'm going to put limes out. You have to set an intention that that's what it's going to do, is protect your family or your home. And also too, a lot of people say when you sage to open windows, it doesn't make sense to me, because if you're getting rid of unwanted spirits in your home or negative energies in your home, they don't need windows to get through them. But if you want to, open a window, open a door so they can get in and out. I still do, just because of the smoke from the sage. But honestly, if you don't have windows to open, don't worry about that. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so just kind of like any type of that. A lot of people, now some of this is pagan stuff too, but a lot of people believe that you shouldn't put anything on your front door that says welcome, just because you don't know what type of energy you're welcoming in. So that's a big one too. I thought that that was kind of weird, but I mean, I think you think about it, and it's actually true. So, you don't, there's certain things that you don't want in your home. So welcome signs, any decorations that have welcome signs, lots of people don't put them on their doors because of that. Also, salt is a big thing. You can do lots of salt spells or salt jars, or you can put salt. When I would go in and cleanse homes and clear houses, I would put black salt on the front porch and black salt on the back porch. So salt is a really, really big protective. It's a huge protector, and salt is used in spells all the time to use for protection. Now, so that's the cleansing part. There's other things you can use for cleansing. I like, sometimes you can get certain herbs and spices and boil them in a pot. And a lot of this sounds really kind of witchy, but it kind of is. That's where spells come from in the first place, or curses or all that stuff. So it's just kind of an old knowledge, old wisdom, ancient wisdom that people bring in to protect themselves against lower energies. And not just that. I always thought that the only protection I needed was from lower energies, but it's about, other people too. The other people that don't want the best for you or don't want you to, succeed. So also to seal off your energy. Don't spread all, don't tell everybody all your stuff. Don't tell everybody all your deepest, darkest stuff, and seal off, if you feel like there's somebody around you a lot that is really negative, or those, energy vampires, you can seal off your energy. That would be the white light. That would be like, this is a boundary thing. They can't come a certain, boundaries are not for, they're for protection. They're for your protection. They're not to, gosh, I always forget this word when I want to say it. They're not to, I don't even know, like, they're not to hurt the person or they're not to make the other person suffer. They're to protect you. They're not to have the other person suffer. They're just to protect you from whatever it is that they're draining. And sometimes ill feelings towards negative people and energy aren't always directed to you. Sometimes they're just negative people and you need to like block yourself against that. But sometimes they are intended for you. Some of these negative thoughts that they have, they do send them with intention, and they do send them hoping the worst for you or jealousy for you. And so that's what you're mostly kind of protecting yourself from. So, and also too, you can use crystals for this. I use tourmaline, and there's any kind of black onyx, tiger's eye. You can carry this stuff with you all the time, and that is a good indication. But before you carry it with you, always set an intention for it. Always set an intention that it's going to protect you and guide you and direct you. So, and also too, a really one that's really strong are emblems. Emblems are really, really strong, especially if you believe in them. So crosses are good. Some people, like I think witches use like an emblem of the deity Hecate, because that protects them. Some people use the Egyptian Ankh for protection. Some people use any type of, I remember I got some permanent jewelry, and before I put it on, I set the intention that it was to protect me. So you can use anything. A lot of these have sayings on them or spellings on them that help protect too, or help me manifest. A lot of these bracelets that I have on them. So anything that you feel like will protect you will, because you believe in it, right? You believe in it. And so as long as you believe in it, it has power. And that's kind of the same thing with curses. If you believe in them, like I don't want to say, because I didn't believe in them and I didn't really believe in curses. I didn't give him that much power. And then something happened where I was like, oh, well, wait a second. Just because I don't believe in him doesn't mean somebody else doesn't. And they can affect me. And so I need to be protected, or I need to really, really be careful about my spiritual energy and what I put out there and what comes into me. So I know some people are going to think that this is kind of crazy, but the reason why I'm going over it is because I think I did have a podcast about curses. It wasn't as much about protection. It was more about curses and the effect they can have on you. I honestly will admit that I didn't, anytime I did classes or I would protect, but I didn't teach my students or my clients how to protect very well. And I feel like that I did them a disservice because I didn't feel like they had, like, this stuff didn't have much of an impact on me until I had an experience where it does. And it wasn't just a lower frequency, because I've always had in the past experiences with lower frequencies or not so great spirits. And so that's what I thought I was always protecting myself against. But then this last couple of years, I've had instances with people that send me bad intentions on purpose, ill intentions purposely, that don't want to see me to succeed and don't want, just unhappy people that are jealous. And that's all these curses come from, is people that can't just stay in their own lane and do their own thing. And so I've learned a lot this last couple of years about protecting yourself against the evil eye or people that send you ill intentions, because I was really naive to it. So it's, if you're living in a spiritual life, and you do work in spirituality, then I suggest you look into that. If you're just going day to day and you don't have anything of that, if you're doing social media though, I would definitely do something where you protect yourself every day and teach your kids a fun balloon game about protection, just because it is a real thing. And I have always said from day one, I can always change my mind, because spirituality, it does not fit in a box nice and neat. Everything's just not self-explanatory. It can change throughout time. I've changed my mind about soul and soulmates and twin flames within the last 2 months. And because I used to think one thing about them, and then I changed my mind into something else because of the Akashic Record readings I was doing. And same with this protection and curses. At one time, I thought curses weren't a real thing. And I didn't think that, I was naive enough to think that nobody would harm anybody else and that everybody loved each other and la 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 la. We lived in this great land of, everybody's nice, and it's not true. And so, so I would be doing you a disservice as my followers to tell you that, it's only if you believe in it. Here's the thing. If somebody sends you something bad and they believe in it, then, and you're just clueless to it, it's still going to have some power, right? Your naivety is not going to give it less of a power. I mean, it'll give it less of a power. What I don't want though, too, is if you feel like someone sent you a curse, or you think someone sent you a curse, they make you, sometimes your thoughts and your mental stuff make you dwell on it, or have intrusive thoughts, or think about it all the time, or worry about it all the time. And that just gives them more power. And that's not a good thing either. So put your protection in place, do it, and then move on, and then move forward, because, you might have to up your game sometimes, because sometimes I can feel when they up theirs, or if they, they want to harm more. And so sometimes you can feel that intuitively. So just kind of know. Now, you'll know intuitively. I just did know. And I felt like I was crazy, and I thought I was, making stuff up, but it's not. It's, and I have always been one to tell you to always trust your intuition. Always, always, always. And I just, you just know. And then what happens is it gets validated. It always gets validated. Somebody somewhere always comes around and says, yeah, this is what's happening. And so you don't feel so crazy, and you don't feel so weak. and you just up your game and you move on and you stay in your own lane, and you look at your own, you stay in your own lane, right? Like there's going to be people out there. It's so sad that there's going to be people out there that don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to get better. There's enough success out there for everybody, right? And everybody, there's enough people out there that everybody has their own thing. So just stay in your own lane, put those blinders on, stay focused on what you do, and focus on your journey, because your journey is the most important. And if somebody's trying to meddle in your journey, F them, right? F them. And put your boundaries, put your words up, put your, you read about in all these science fiction books, all these love books that they, when they're going to war, they have the words up. Always put your words up. Just know that I was so laxed on this and so relaxed on this that I didn't really pay attention to it. Just know that it's something, just say a daily prayer every day for protection and guidance, and if you feel like it's a bigger deal, then get a bigger deal. Like really look into it and get more protection. So that is kind of like, I guess this is kind of like my apology from, 2 years ago when I did my podcast on curses, and I kind of just, I was kind of, I would say a little bit arrogant, maybe even just like curses don't have power unless you give them power. I'm untouchable. And now I look back and think that was probably so dumb. Like so naive of me to say, because energy is real. Energy is, and that's what I teach every day. That's how I talk to spirit. That's how I do my readings, is I tap into their frequency and I feel their energy. So when somebody sends that energy to you, or you send that out, it's a real thing. It's a real thing. So be careful about that, because you always get what you put out there. So if you're sending somebody these bad vibes, you're going to get them back. So be really careful about that. And just know that there are people out there that don't want the best for you and don't think the best of you. And so you need to be protected for that. So protection is huge, especially if you're going into a spiritual awakening, if you're getting into spiritual practices, always, always protect. Because even when I just remember even basic religions, like religions will teach you. I remember this one thing, and it's so good. But if you plan to do something that day for the church, or you plan to visit a place for the church that day, then that day was extra hard because Satan was trying to stop you from doing that, because that's the work of God and that's the work of good. And that's kind of true. Like there's some lower frequencies that don't want you to be successful and don't want things to be good. So you stay in your lane, you do your thing, you put your protection on every day, you pray every day for protection to whoever you believe in, because whoever you believe in is, if you don't believe in the cross, then the cross isn't going to help you. If you don't believe in Jesus, then Jesus isn't going to help you. But if you believe in a different deity, then that deity, it's all energy. It's all energy, and it's what you believe. And what you believe is your life, and it becomes true. So that's the thing too. But just because you don't believe in curses doesn't mean somebody else doesn't that might be sending it to you. So always just protect against somebody else's beliefs. So I know that's kind of short, and I know but I just really felt like I needed to put this out there and give you your information that you need, because the last thing I want is my spunksters, my followers, to go out there and be unprotected and not have their shields up and just think that just be like me and think that everything's great and everybody wants you to succeed and life is beautiful. Because as much as that is true, at the same time, there are also people out there that don't want you to succeed and don't want you to help other people and don't want you to progress. So do those things, white light, emblems, anything that you believe has protection or will protect you will do it. So do all those things. The secret is consistency. You need to be consistent, just like sage. It's not a one and done thing. You can't sage your house and it be completely done forever. You sage your house about once a month, or you cleanse your house once a month, or you simmer the herbs once a month, or you salt your porch once a month. That's, just like once a month you blow cinnamon in your front door for abundance. So those are intentions. Those are spells. Those are energies. Those are things. And you don't even have to be a witch to have them happen. You know what I mean? They're your intention. It's spirit. It's just spirituality. So my thing is, stay consistent with your spiritual protection and your spiritual practices, because that's what will help you in the end. And that's what I've been so consistent ever since these experiences have been happening. And I can tell a huge difference. It's just night and day. So I hope this helps you guys. I love you so much, and I will see you next time.